Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. With the recent patch, the ability score Constitution got entirely reworked. Slowly but surely, Cryptic Studios have been adjusting the hit point formula, and thus they have changed how Constitution, the buff to maximum HP, interacts with this formula. And such, Constitution now gives an actual significant amount of HP compared to what it was prior to the patch. Prior to the patch, Constitution was giving about 2000 to 3000 maximum HP, depending on your base HP, and this base HP was dependent on your true base HP, which was a whole lot lower than you would have expected. If you look at your HP bar here, I believe you can see the base HP there being for myself at 4228. So now Constitution should affect that base HP by multiplying it by the certain percentage that it shows there. Currently, with my Constitution score being at 12, it gives me 6%, meaning I should get 6% of that 428,000. However, I can definitely increase this Constitution score by a whole lot more, as I will show you further on into the video. This bonus not only affects tanks, but affects all classes. I switched over to my healer build here, and you can see I've gained nearly a 30,000 buff to my HP. I was sitting around 522,000 prior to the patch. As you can see here on my healer build, I'm not stacking Constitution whatsoever, and I have still a score of 19. The main reason for this is generally your neck slot will give a significant amount of Constitution. This is a lower geared neck slot, which will give me only 3 Constitution. However, the much higher item level sets, like the Reflective Collar for example, will give 5 Constitution. As well as that, the Storyteller books are pretty good since they'll also give you that increase to ability scores. So back to my tank build. Let's see what it looks like when I increased my Constitution. I'm currently looking at 1,007,000 HP. For these examples, I'm not going to equip my neck set, because if I do, it will increase my HP by a whole ton because of the actual set itself and the enchantments within it. But as you can see there, I can gain 5 Constitution from it. So let's go ahead and increase my ability scores. To get the most HP, you would want to choose Constitution, just for that maximum HP bonus there, that flat one. And you would want Charisma for that companion influence. The more companion influence you have, the more HP your companion will grant to you. So I'm just going to stack these all up here, and there we go. Now my Constitution is at 20. So let's go ahead and look what increase that gave me. You can see I was at 1,007,000. Now I'm gone all the way up with an increase of nearly 30,000. That is huge, just for an increase of 8 ability score points for my Constitution. I can get another 5 from my neck set, and I should be able to get another 3 from my racial ability scores. Currently I am a human, and I've stuck 3 of my points into wisdom to increase that outgoing healing for my healer build. First up, however, I want to switch out to my storyteller journals and increase my ability scores again from them. So instead of switching out these artifacts that I have to the other books, since they would give bonus HP just themselves without just giving the Constitution, I just switched my waist set. It has the exact same stats as the one I had previously. However, this one gives a bonus to 1 to all of the ability scores, and then again with the set bonus 2 of set increases all attributes by 1 again. You can see now I've gone all the way up to 45,000, so that's just over a 38,000 increase in HP, just from Constitution alone. Let's go ahead and switch my racial ability score points to Constitution, and we should see an even more increase in HP. So here we are in the character creation screen. I'll just click continue and go to my ability scores. I'm going to switch this +3 to Constitution, buffing my kind of base ability score of Constitution to 15 instead of what it normally is at 12. Hit continue, I'll keep how I look and commit the changes. We load back in, and there we have it. Our constitution is now 26 with a plus 14 bonus points, giving a total of 13% maximum HP. Again, I will repeat myself, this 13% is multiplied by your base HP, which is the HP granted to you by what it says modified by items. The buffs, most of those are unaffected by any multipliers to our HP, except if you're a tank, where you have, for example here on the Paladin, the Oath of Protection, which increases that HP, that overall HP, by 40%. So there we have it. I believe that's the maximum I can gain, 26 Constitution, without having my next set. Let's go ahead and switch that in. However, we are looking at 1,055,000 HP. Before I stacked any Constitution, I was at 1,007,000. Therefore, I've gained just about 48,000 HP just by switching to Constitution. However, there's one more thing where you can gain another point of ability scores to basically all of them, and that is by going to a campfire. You can see here when you pop in the campfire, it gives you this well rested buff, essentially, giving you that +1 to all ability scores. And there you have it, I'm at 27 Constitution, increasing my HP by, as you can see there, since I was at 55,000, I'm now at 59,000. So I nearly got about a 4,000 buff to my HP just from one ability score point added to my Constitution. Now let's go ahead and see my total amount of HP that I can get by equipping all the buffs that I can manage, excluding of course turning myself into an Uglyborn, essentially the Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn, which will give you that 3% extra maximum HP, essentially giving me about nearly 40,000 more HP, and thus it being the best in slot race for essentially all tanks. So with just equipping my next slot, I got a huge buff to my HP there, looking at 1.126 million HP. Now let's go switch out to my other storyteller books. And there we have it. We have a freaking insane amount of HP there. At 1,162,000 HP. With all the buffs that I can equip, including the Bulwark of Brimstone, giving that 5%, including my Caprice and my Sambocade Guild Food, and the Storyteller Journals. However, there's one more thing I can add, which would be the 4th Storyteller book, there being the Envenomed. Of course, I generally wouldn't run with it, only when I'm running, let's say, solo content. And that, again, buffs my HP up to 1,179,000. This amount of HP is, of course, kind of overkill. There's in no scenario where you actually need that amount of HP. Most things you can easily complete with just under 1,000,000 HP. So Cryptic Studios have just made it a whole lot easier for tanks and even DPS to stack that extra HP and that survivability, which is kind of nice in a way. So that essentially wraps up this video. I definitely now suggest for all tanks to revert to Constitution ability score over what they had previously. For myself, I'm switching to Constitution over my Strength. My Strength gave me that little bit of bonus to stamina regen, which I kind of liked. However, now since Constitution actually gives a significant amount of HP, I'm definitely switching to that. And I'm just going to stick with my Charisma, giving me that companion influence and recharge speed to reduce those insane cooldowns on our long encounter powers. So hopefully this video was clear and informative. Hope you learned a thing or two, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.